The recent solo queue changes have been an absolute game changer for Dead by Daylight, or, as Behavior refers to these changes, the Survivor Activity HUD. Weird. Anyway, this addition to the game has completely changed the way Dead by Daylight is played, bringing the experience of solo queue closer to Survive with Friends than ever before. Now that these changes have had their time to settle, I'd like to discuss how they've panned out and what could be changed. The Survivor Activity HUD was added in January, along with numerous other changes in the Forged in Fog mid-chapter release. When they were unveiled, there were two groups of people. This is great! Dead by Daylight has needed this for years. I'm so glad that they're finally adding this. You know, we've really needed—
Oh my fucking god, Behavior! I swear all you do is cater to survivors! I'm never playing again! Now every game is going to be like Survive with Friends! Might as well make Dead-Eyed Basekit!
Admittedly, the second reaction wasn't as common, but a common concern amongst killer players was that every match was going to be incredibly difficult. The logic of this was that, by attempting to bridge the gap between solo queue and playing with comms, all games would be like playing against a coordinated team, which many killer players did not like the idea of, since these games tend to be on the harder side. However, what these players neglected to realize is that by putting solo queue and Survive with Friends on an equal playing field, Behavior can truly balance the game the way it needs to be. Behavior can buff the weaker killers to be on a level in which they can handle a Survive with Friends team without having to worry if solo queue players will be able to handle them. Whether they'll do that is another story, but I digress. So, 8 months later, these changes are pretty good, and they definitely help aid the solo queue experience. But I think we just need a little extra nudge to get solo queue on the same playing field as a Survive with Friends team. Well, that and the MMR not matching me with 3 Phineas Gage role players, but I can't really suggest anything to improve that side of things, other than, well, not doing that. So, what needs to be done to further bridge the gap? Well, I think what would be most important would be something that's been asked for even before the HUD got added. That being, the ability to see your teammates' perks in lobby. This would further enhance not only the solo queue experience, but be an amazing quality of life feature for all survivors. Even when I do play with friends, I'm not wanting to have to ask everyone what they're using to fill up their total of 12 perk slots. By letting survivors see each other's perks in lobby, solo queue players would be able to know what each other is running and make informed decisions both before and during the trial. If you see that a teammate is running inner strength, you can decide that it's probably best to switch out your boon build for something else. It'd also be great for during the trial. If you know that Nia's running Streetwise and brought a toolbox, since you were able to see she was bringing Streetwise in the first place, you'll know to save using your toolbox for when you repair generators with her. I think it'd also be a good idea to make it so when you push pause, everybody's perks are shown to you, just in case you need a little reminder. Plus, there's already space for them there, so why not put it there anyway? I have seen a counter-argument against this, but I think it's pretty misguided. Some have said that if you were able to see your teammates' perks in the lobby, then some people might lobby dodge if your perks aren't to their liking. The thing is though, currently, they're still going to load into the match with you, not aware of their teammates' builds until it's too late. The type of player that would lobby dodge because of the perks their teammate brought tend to correlate with the type of players who give up and screw over their team because they loaded in to see their teammate brought no mither. This improves the experience for both parties because this allows the lobby dodger to play with people that fit their needs, and makes it so that said lobby dodger would be replaced by somebody who isn't bothered by your build, leading to a better game experience. Plus, I also think this could lead to more variety in survivor perks, which can only be a good thing for the game. For example, seeing a perk like For the People outside of a coordinated team is a rarity. It's not that the perk is bad, far from it. The main issue is that if you don't know it's coming, the sheer fact it's in play will take a second to get used to, which can lead to the difference between the use of the perk being a good idea or leading to the downfall of the entire team. Perks like Soul Guard, Solidarity, and Head On might see more use if you know your team can plan around you having it. I might actually consider using Head On if my teammates knew to go near a locker when they're being chased. But how will they know I'm headed to a locker nearby, you might ask? This leads us to our next proposed change, that being to make Bond Basekit at a reduced range of 20 meters. This might sound like too much, but hear me out. What is Bond used for? Bond is used to know where your teammates are. Knowing where nearby teammates are can make or break a game. If somebody is behind a wall and is injured, you'd be able to easily find them. If you're being chased by the killer, you can see that a nearby teammate is there and make the decision on if you want to risk exposing their location. This may sound like it could be too much, but I want to bring up 2 main points. You can get essentially the same effects and benefits for free by playing with comms, and This genuinely would improve the quality of life of the survivor experience. Finding an injured survivor to heal, knowing a survivor is working on a nearby generator so you could possibly join them, knowing their location to set up a flashlight save, etc. I think Otstarva describes it best.
You can do a lot of things with this perk, and it's a bit of a lubricant. It makes all the teamwork a bit smoother and happen a bit more naturally.
And remember, in order to be able to truly balance the game, playing alone and with friends needs to be on as close of a playing field as possible. While these hypothetical changes may seem to be going too far for some people, these changes come with the idea of accommodating weaker killers as needed. These ideas are not to buff survivors in general, they're simply to make the game overall a healthier experience. Anyways, this next change may seem small at first, but it's something that I'm honestly surprised isn't already in the game. Anybody who's played DBD has surely seen this. What I find surprising is that when this is shown to somebody, it is only shown to them. When somebody passes by a dull totem when the killer has Undying still active, only that survivor is notified. When playing with communications, if this happens to you, you can simply say the killer has Undying and go from there. Just knowing that this one perk is present can dictate so much of what happens in the match. With Undying as an example, you can assume that the killer probably has another Hex perk, meaning that it may be a good idea to start checking around for totems. You are also aware of the fact that if the killer has brought another Hex, the first totem that's cleansed won't get rid of that Hex. None of this information is communicated to you in solo queue unless you just so happen to walk next to a dull totem. And that's just one perk! This occurs on plenty of perks, meaning that until you are personally affected by it, you as a solo survivor will have no idea that the killer is using the perk, while this issue doesn't exist with Survive with Friends at all. I'm literally going to list all of these perks just to prove how much of an issue this is. Blood Echo, Colrophobia, Dead Man's Switch, Dissolution, Dragon's Grip, Dying Light, Fearmonger, Forced Hesitation, Forced Penance, Franklin's Demise, Genetic Limits, Hex, Blood Favor, Hex, Huntress Lullaby, Hex, Plaything, Hex, Pentimento, Hex, Ruin, Hex, The Third Seal, Hex, Thrill of the Hunt, Hubris, Hysteria, Iron Maiden, Iron Grasp, Knockout, Leverage, Make Your Choice, Merciless Storm, Nemesis, No Way Out, Oppression, Overcharge, Overwhelming Presence, Remember Me, Scourge Hook, Gift of Pain, Scourge Hook, Monstrous Shrine, Septic Touch, Sloppy Butcher, Starstruck, Terminus. You could say that adding this nerfs some perks or makes already weak perks weaker, but the thing is, these perks are just as weak as they would be if the perk notification was universal because of the existence of Discord. I wouldn't see any reason to purposefully not add a quality of life feature just so some perks can still be good only when going against solo players. These perks can very easily be buffed if they need. Lastly, this issue is something that I think was partially just forgotten about, that being the exit gates. The HUD shows your team whenever a survivor is on it, but you know what vital information it doesn't show? The progress of said exit gates. This information is absolutely vital, and while sure, you can get a general idea based on how long the icon is present, 99 a gate is incredibly common, and it's very difficult to tell if the gate is a tap away versus a few extra seconds this way. What I also think should be done is when a survivor starts to do a gate, the aura of it is shown to everybody. When you're able to communicate with your team, you can simply tell everybody where the gate is. I think that the aura of it could turn from red to yellow as it progresses, since if you leave the gate, your HUD can change to something different. And while we're at it, buff Wake Up, since this edition treads on its territory. Boom, Wake Up now shows everybody both exit gates and lets you open gates at 50% increased speed. Now might actually be viable. And with that, that's everything I would change to make solo queue a better experience. I believe that these changes could be enough to make the experience of solo queue and Survive with Friends to be as close as they can be, realistically. With changes like these, the game would have the opportunity to become truly balanced. Hey there, I really appreciate you watching this video. It really does mean a lot. What do you think about these ideas? I'd really like to hear other thoughts on this. With that said, I'll see you next time.